If you found this meditation channel, then my guess is that you are going through a spiritual awakening, because this is not a meditation to just clear the mental clutter. These are meditations I post that are about defining who we are as spiritual beings having human experience. They're what I would call deeply channeled, meaning I put aside my human and I allow my soul to come through with some very powerful words, always trying to remind us of who we are and what the lessons of life are all about. So this particular meditation, Around the World in 18 Minutes, isn't a jaunty trip around the world. It's actually dropping in on different scenes and scenarios to remind us that life is fun, not to take things so seriously, and to connect to that deeper part of ourself that is source, that is all that is. So I invite you to get settled and listen in. We're going to take a trip today around the world to showcase the interconnectivity between everyone and everything. So I invite you to settle in, put your seatbelt on, make sure those tray tables are up as we travel to different places and different spaces as one. So I invite you to just start to close your eyes and begin to breathe. With a deep inhale and a beautiful exhale. Inhale and exhale. Let's start to relax our nervous system, getting rid of any tension or anxiety within the body or within the mind. Coming to a place where we feel free, happy, and able to be present in this moment. We all have access to the one thing which helps us travel the world without ever leaving our home, our bed, or wherever we are. And that is the mind. The mind is our travel agent. It's our pilot, our co-pilot, our flight attendant or cabin crew. And we are the passengers ready to adventure. So let's begin to picture the earth in all its magical glory. You're watching it from above, like you're floating in the atmosphere. You look below and see a perfect cylinder. You can see the water. You see all the countries as if you were looking at a map without words. So with joy, gratitude, peace, and love, we begin to understand how we are all connected as one. We may not know each other through physical time and space, but we know each other in a metaphysical sense because we are one another. No city, no country, no town, no continent can ever keep us tethered to our non-human self. We are the light of Source. We are one in every sense of the word. So let's take this light, feeling centered, peaceful, joyful, and loving, as we journey around the globe. We get to experience it as if we were the eyes of spirit, the eyes of our source. Seeing the world exactly as it should be. Joyful, peaceful, fun, and engaging. So as if you're sitting on a metaphysical plane wherever you are, begin the ascent into the realm of the non-physical. Our first stop is in Australia, as if we're gliding above it. We're starting to head over the ocean, and there are surfers out in the water. They're having the best time. And then one just wipes out. And we laugh, not because it's funny, but because we feel their joy in that moment. Even though the waves can knock us down, we have the choice to be picked back up. We can get back up again and again. And as we're watching this surfer, that's exactly what they do. They get right back up and continue on their journey, riding the waves. They do it again and again because they have so much joy and appreciation, reverence for the water, for the ocean, for the salt, for the sea, for the air, and the magic that they feel inside as they surf. And you don't even have to be surfing. You can engage with them and feel what they're feeling right now. The feeling of riding the wave that is life, because we are all connected in the mind of all. One mind can share an experience just by going inward and finding that peace, joy, excitement, laughter, and love. We watch as the surfers come out of the water, toss their hair back, and feel that sense of accomplishment of what they were able to achieve in the waves. And that feeling is the feeling you take with you wherever you go in life. That no matter what is going on, you accomplished something. You achieved something. Even on the hardest days, you still know that achievement has happened. And now we begin to travel back upward, ascending into the sky, high above. And just like that, with our mind, we can look back and see the entire world again from that position of source. Outside of the atmosphere, but still connected to Earth. And so let's go back down. Let's find another spot to drop in on. Now we're dropping in on the hustle and bustle of the city streets of London. The cars are going by. You can see the double-decker buses as we travel over Big Ben. You feel the energy of the city. It's alive with people. There's cars beeping, kids laughing, enjoying themselves on the playground. There's people on the underground going to work and traveling from place to place with a sense of excitement about what's to come. Maybe they're heading off to a job interview for the perfect job in this perfect place, in the perfect neighborhood. But as they're walking, their heel breaks. But rather than get upset and feel dragged down, they simply laugh it off. And when they go to that interview, they take that sense of laughter with them. Because they can appreciate when things go awry or things go wrong, and they just roll with it. And they leave that interview with a sense of appreciation and gratitude, knowing they did their absolute best despite the circumstance. And as they're walking down the street, it begins to rain. So they put their umbrella up and just smile, because they know that everything is purposeful. And the next day they're in their apartment, in their flat, and the phone rings. And to no surprise, the dream job in the dream city, in the dream neighborhood, is now a reality. Created in the let go. By being that person who walked in with not a care in the world, with no expectation, laughing off the broken heel, and just being grateful to have the experience. Letting go of that sense of must-have and just letting the chips fall where they may. And that's the way we're meant to live in our earthly bodies, letting things happen. Trying to make things the way that you want them to be will just keep you stuck in those illusions of separation, waiting for dreams to arrive. Instead, we can learn from our mistakes. We can grow and evolve through every challenge. That is living as Source. And let's come back up, ascending again into the sky, taking our mind up and above so we can see that spinning globe and pick our next destination. Now we're out in the country, in the middle of Iowa, on a beautiful farm. And the wheat is growing almost as high as the eye can see, even beyond what it can see. As you stand back and look at it, it's so tall you can barely see the tops of it. And you know it's going to be a challenge. How do I cultivate it when it's grown so high? And beyond those tall stalks, there's something else that the eyes cannot see, but you know it's there. And you know that this is going to bring you financial abundance, if only you could figure out how to cultivate it properly. Even when it's overgrown, even when it's higher than the eyes can see. You sit in the center, you sit on your tractor, and you just look at it. And you start to laugh and say, what am I going to do with all of this wheat? And you start to see that wheat not as wheat, but as abundance. An overabundance of energy. And when you come from that perspective of knowing it's just an overabundance of energy, it takes away the narrative of what that is. It's just energy. And energy can be cultivated. It can be manipulated. You can move it the way that you want it to move, with the power of your voice, your thoughts, your emotions. You have this overabundance of energy that you can't quite figure out what to do with, and your first inclination is to share it. Share it with everyone, everybody in town. You cut it down, you place it on a barrel, and you drive it over to the store, asking if they would like to receive some of this abundance. And they say, yes. Can I help you cultivate, they ask? And then everybody in the town comes, and they've got their buckets and they've got their shears. They're helping you cut this overabundance of energy and place it in their own buckets so that they can eat heartily for the next few months until the next crop grows. Because once the abundance is over, we can grow it again, plant new seeds, and start all over. And that way we continue to share it each and every season. What a beautiful thing it is to know that when you share, it returns right back to you in kind. To shear is to share. What we give is received. And what we keep is stalled. So remember, share, give, love. Coming back up into the sky as we begin to travel over the continent of Asia. And we come down into a small town and we watch as they plant seeds into Mother Earth, helping our collective, keeping this planet going for centuries and centuries to come. Even though they know they won't be there to enjoy it in the physical body, they are inhabiting it right now, being of service. To give and to share, and to leave it behind for others who will come after them, knowing that they too are part of that collective. Because even though we may leave and cross over to our non-physical, eventually we will return and be part of the collective again and again. So we leave the planet the way we want it to be. We treat it with kindness. We treat it with love. And one more time, we begin our ascent into the sky as we travel over to California. And our plane lands on the tarmac as we join a production taking place down the road. A story of heroes and villains. And everyone has a role to play. Those who are willing to understand this magical tale is simply an illusion, a made-up version of life. They know they're playing a role, and they've casted the characters. Everyone in their life and everyone they come across is a piece of their puzzle. And as we watch the production take place, we start to see that we are the actors. We are the director and the producers on set. We are the cinematographer filming the action. We are the extras, the costumers, the key grips and best boys. We are everyone and everything. We may not be the same physically, but we are metaphysically. One mind, one love, one source, all. So where will you go on your next adventure? Where will you travel to? What seeds will you plant? What will you give? What will you share? These are the questions to ponder, to ask of the self. Who am I being on this magical planet of Earth? And now we return back to the earth, planting our feet firmly on solid ground, and remembering we can journey around the world at any point, simply closing the eyes and seeing the world as one. So I hope this little 18-minute trip around the world reminded you to have a laugh when things go wrong, to not take things so seriously, and to pay attention, knowing that the universe always is there to help us when we stumble or fall.